Hello. Good morning. I am live, ready to go to do morning song and trying to get my picture in my camera in my uh, video feed is really tiny, so I can't really see very well what you're seeing. So I hope that it's all good to go. And I'm just gonna hang out just for a couple minutes. John C. Campbell wants to connect with me, so suggested that we wait just a couple of minutes before we get connected. So I hope everyone's doing well this morning. It's a beautiful morning here in Kentucky. We've had some great fall-like mornings. So, well, this morning is going to be fun. I'm excited to do this, and yeah, we're looks like we're good to go. I'm gonna let's see. Wait, it's my clock says 7:43, so I'm gonna wait till right on 7:45 and then go for it. Make sure everything's tuned up. So this morning I'll do a little bit of harp and dulcimer. I'll move that over into the camera here in just a moment. So, yeah, gonna have a good time this morning. So I don't know if how many of you watching and listening have been to John C. Campbell Folk School, have participated in their week-long or weekend events, but the morning song is always a special time together. So it's really an honor to be able to do this morning and share it with you in your living room as if we are all there together. So I am going to declare that it's officially time to start and on with the show. Well, I began teaching at John C. Campbell, let's see, in 2002. So, oh my gosh, that's 18 years later, and I've taught 28 classes over that time period. Those have been all levels of the folk harp and folk harp gathering, and different levels of the dulcimer and the dulcimer gathering. And one of my favorite parts of being there is to join in on morning song, either as a participant or as a performer. And it's just it's wonderful to start your day with live music and then anticipate going to the dining hall together when that breakfast bell rings. So I thought I would just present to you something similar to what I would be doing if I was there this week. And that is kind of a crash course on the history of the Irish harp and how the music got to America and how that music became part of our American roots music. And if you enjoy this morning song or any morning songs or any programming at John C. Campbell Folk School, I know they would love having a donation from you. So if you look in the comment box, I don't know if it's below or on the side or wherever it is, there is a link to where you can make your donation. So please think about doing that. Well, the harp here dates all the way back to the 9th century, and it became the symbol of Ireland. Harpers were held in the highest regard for 800 years. And there was a golden age of harping in which produced a lot of harp music and harp players. Of course, many of those during that time we don't have written material and history of what they played. But there were some that we do. In fact, one of the most influential, earliest harpers that we have music from is Thomas Connellan. Thomas Connellan, he and his brother both played the harps, and he was born in 1640 in County Sligo. And the piece that I'm going to start with today was written by him, a beautiful song that we think was a love song for his wife because it was named Celia Connellan. And then I'm going to follow that with a polka because now the modern Irish harps do play the dance music of Ireland as well. And so this piece is called Tareen Darby. It's a polka, and I want to credit two Irish harpers that taught these pieces to me, and that's Cormac DeBarra and Grania Hamley. So thank you so much for sharing your tunes with me. So this is Celia Canellan and Tareen Darby. Well, thank you. Wow, I just realized that that was my warm up for the day. Not used to playing a concert at 7:45 in the morning, but thank you for those of you that have joined me this morning. I hope you have your cup of tea or your coffee. Well, the harps during the time I've talked about Thomas Connellan, and the harps during his time were not, of course, like this beautiful floor model that I have. This one is made by Dave and Sharon Thormelin in Oregon, and it comes complete with levers that changes the keys, as you saw I had to do in that last piece. So the harps that Thomas Connellan played were probably closer to this size, a little harp. This one has 34 strings and this one has 22, so you can tell the difference. The strings also at that time were made of wire, so it really gave them just a beautiful magical quality to them. Now this one is made of nylon, But this size harps would have been perfect for accompanying playing solo, or accompanying the poets and the scribes. And it was really the duty of the harper to be able to just jump in and accompany a story, a poem, a song, and to make to be able to allow their audiences to feel joy or sadness or love. The harp could do magical things, and it brought the characters to life in the stories, and it really helped. It helped the listeners to remember the characters. So a lot of music was improvised and it was not written down. But by the time Thomas Connellan was around and the harpers in his era, there were pieces that were written specifically for people or events that started being shared. And so some of those we do have. We have a few of his still left, as you heard earlier. So I'll play one of his tunes now on this little harp. And I thought it was perfect for Morningsong because the title is Dawning of the Day. Now, if when you listen to this, it might make you think of an Irish tune that's been a song that's been written to it later that's very close to the same melody, and it's called On Raglan Road. But here it is played as Thomas Connellan would have played Dawning of the Day. Thank you. All of the harps have their unique special sound to them, no matter the size. Well, after Connellan's time, then Ireland began to see a decline, of course, in the wealthy landowners, the lords, the chieftains, and those were the ones that employed the harpers and gave them a place to play on a daily, regular basis. Many of that was part of the high esteem of the harper, was to be a resident harper in a castle or big house. But as those started to decline, then the harpers had to take to the countryside, and became our first wandering minstrels. Well, the most famous of all those wandering minstrels, no doubt, was Turlock O'Carolyn. He was born in 1670 in a little town called Nobber, Ireland. And in fact, so we're celebrating his 350th birthday this year. Well, Turlock was blinded by smallpox, which was not so uncommon during that time. It was when he was 18 years of age. Luckily for Turlock, his father was employed by Miss McDermott Rowe, and she saw potential in Turlock and asked if he would want to have an apprenticeship as a harper. And so she provided that for him, and he passed with flying colors and was encouraged then to become a composer, an entertainer, a performer. And so he was given a horse and a guide, and that's what he did for the rest of his life. Now, of course, all his tunes were composed in the oral tradition, but because of Edward Bunting's musical skills and his ability to write down the tunes that O'Carolyn played, or that other harpers remembered from O'Carolyn during the 1792 Belfast Harp Festival, we have about 200 of his compositions still today, which is just incredible. So I'm going to play two of my favorites. The first is, well, both of these are dedicated to, written for women in his life. The first is called Bridget Cruise, and this is a slow air. He was very fond of Bridget Cruise. In fact, he wrote 3 tunes for her, and this is one of them. The next tune is someone maybe he wasn't quite so fond of, that he maybe had to make amends with. So he wrote her a tune. And this is called Quarrel with the Landlady. And this one was written more in the style of that Italian Baroque that was very common during O'Carolyn's time. So Bridget Cruise and Quarrel with the Landlady. Thank you. Well, I say those are two of my favorites. I have new favorites for O'Carolyn all the time. In fact, this year, with the pandemic and spending much more time at home, I've had time to explore a lot more O'Carolyn pieces, and I have found several goodies in there. So, um, never enough time for all the O'Carolyn music. Well, after O'Carolyn's time, of course, there, or actually even near the end of O'Carolyn's time, as I said, the decline of the Irish landowner and the Gaelic culture, and then the combination of the potato famine, we saw the Scots-Irish immigration to America. Now, I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit to make sure that you can see this dulcimer. So, excuse me for just a sec. There, I think you can. Like I say, my picture in here for some reason this morning is like a 1.5 inch square or a rectangle. So I think you can see it. There's a little brown blurb at the bottom there. So the harps did not travel across the waters during the immigration time. In fact, they had faded out quite a bit by that time, and but those that traveled did bring with them the in their hearts and in their minds and in their voices, they brought the Irish music and the Scottish music with them. And wherever they settled, that music became part of that culture. Now, if they settled in the Appalachian Mountains, like here in Kentucky or West Virginia, then if they didn't have a fiddle or a banjo to play that music on, then they made their own instrument. They were so determined to keep that music alive, and we're thankful for that because that was the birth of the American mountain dulcimer, and it was perfect for the drone strings gave them that feel of the pipes, and we had the diatonic fretboard to play what the diatonic harps were playing. And it was easy enough to be to made that many households could have those. So, gosh, there were so many songs I could play for you that I love playing Scottish and Irish tunes on the dulcimer. But I thought, since most of my tunes I'm playing today you probably don't know, I thought I'm going to play a couple of tunes that you probably will recognize. And that just to also bring on, hammer the point that our Irish Scottish music has become so much a part of our American life. These two songs, a Londonderry air, was an ancient air that was written in Ireland, but when it crossed over to America, lyrics were put with it, and now we know it as Danny Boy, and everyone has that Irish pride when they sing Danny Boy. And then the second tune that I'll play is Auld Lang Syne. Again, it represents something very strong about Scotland, which is, of course, Robert Burns, his poetry, and the music that, again, has become very, very popular in America. So enjoy Londonderry Air and Danny Boy. Thank you. Well, the sharing of the music, started, of course, the Scots, Irish, the all our troops in the Civil War. There was a great sharing of the music. And as I said, many of the versions of the songs were adapted and passed along so many times that we forgot where the song came from. In fact, when I first started playing the mountain dulcimer, which I started playing the mountain dulcimer before I played the harp, this was my gateway drug, as you would say, to the gateway instrument to the harp. When I first started playing the mountain dulcimer, I learned a tune that I dearly loved playing that was called Are You Gonna Meet an Uncle Joe? Or Hop Eye Ladies. And I thought it was a traditional American play party tune. And I guess you could still call it that if when you play it as Hop Eye Ladies. But I also found out later then that this tune was really a traditional Irish dance tune, a reel called Miss McLeod's Reel. So what I'm going to play it for you. I have this dulcimer hybrid, which we have now. It's some people call it a banjomer because it has a banjo head. And I've tuned it in all unison strings. So I'm going to give you a little sample of how I learned Hop Eye Ladies. Take this off. Nothing like live performances, huh? I don't usually play double-decker dulcimers. Now I'm going to move over here and play Miss McLeod's Reel on the harp. Thank you. Well, I should say thank you for tuning in for one thing. We are coming near the end of the program now. So if you're just tuning in, I have been enjoying doing Morningsong for the John C. Campbell Folk School. And if you have stuck with me all this time, thank you so much. So I'll wrap things up here. And so, as I said, the Scots Irish music that started on the harp traveled across to America. It found its way in all sorts of places that it liked, whether it was the dulcimer, the banjo, or the fiddles, or all of these things. And modern day harpers and other Irish musicians are still trying to keep this music alive. In fact, I play in an Irish trio, an all women trio called Na Skylark. You can look for us on the Facebook or on the web. And in fact, some of the music that I'm playing today is recorded with Na Skylark, with pipes and fiddles and whistles and flutes. And we are dedicated to keeping this historic music alive. And that's what we really want to be historically accurate when we play and try to bring this to you. Of course, we didn't have recordings back then, so we have to go by manuscripts and the information that we know about the musicians back in that time. So and of course now you can play Irish music, and there's Irish pubs all over that you can enjoy playing with others, or make your own band like I did and start playing Irish music. Well, one of the bands that did so much to promote this traditional Irish music and kept it alive was the Chieftains. And they influenced my music. They influenced the group that I play with. And so I thought I would end this session today, this Morningsong, with a medley of pieces that I learned first heard on Chieftain albums. And the first is a lovely air called Skylark, or The Lark in the Clear Air. And the next is a dance tune, a slide called Star Above the Garter. And then I'll finish with a march called The Chanter's Tune. And then we'll wrap it up. I hope you've enjoyed your coffee and music this morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope to see you live at the Keith House Morning Song sometime soon. If you want to learn some of those O'Carolyn tunes, join me in April. I will be teaching continuing harp. If you'd like to get started on either size of these harps, I will be teaching and let's see, in November during Shaker Week. I'm really excited about that. So if you like John C. Campbell Folk School, donate wherever your comment box is. Send them a donation. And thank you so much for being with me this morning. Hope you have a good day. Stay safe and healthy at home. And until then, as John C. Campbell would say, sing behind the plow.